What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been about a year since I've made a video, and I kind of want to get back into it. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little overview of the car. This is a Civic that I got on trade. Used to be gold. I painted it blue. I've never done body work or paint myself, so I wanted to try it, and this was a great candidate to try it on. So let's get into the overview and tell you what I've done and what the plan is for this car. So first things first, I painted the car blue. I had never done it before, no body work, no paint, and I know it can be a pain if you've never done it before, so I wanted to try it. And I went ahead and painted the car. So the wheels and tires under it are 17 by, I think, 7. They're 205 40 17s, nothing fancy, nothing spectacular. They're just some wheels. The car came, whenever I got it, on some lowering springs. I think they're 2-inch lowering springs maybe. So it sits a little bit lower than factory, but it still rides pretty good. Still got the factory coilovers in it, or shocks, but different springs. It still rides pretty good. The windows I tinted. They are 5% on both the front, the rear doors, and the back window. And then I put a sunroof in it. So this sunroof, if you didn't know this car didn't have a sunroof, this sunroof came out of a 2012 Chevy Impala. It is electric, which is what I wanted. I wanted a sunroof in this car. I had a Nissan 240SX, which I extremely regret getting rid of. It was totally stock, except for wheels and tires and suspension, and I had rebuilt the engine in it. I regret getting rid of that car, but it was the first car I had with a sunroof. And having this car and not having a sunroof, I wanted a sunroof again. I don't get my 240 back. I mean, that's gone. I live in Idaho. It's been shipped to Texas, so that's long gone. But I could at least have the sunroof. So I put a sunroof in the car. And I painted the car, did the tint, and the engine, whenever I got the car, had thrown a rod through, I believe, cylinder 1. And I went ahead, pulled that old motor out. The head seemed okay. I went through it, and I went and got a junkyard short block. So I put a short block and my head together, put it in the car, started it up, ran it, but it smoked horrendously. So I pulled it back out, and I went through the engine. I put new rings in it, just because the rings were bad. That's why it smoked. So I put new rings in it, and went through the entire engine, pretty much. It's got new bearings, new rings, new pistons, new rods. It's all new. And put it all back together, and it ran fantastic. It ran great. But I had a problem with my catalytic converter, and I gutted it out originally just to kind of get rid of the code that I had for the cat, and I knew I could do a 5-volt reference for my O2 sensors and run it like that for a while, and I did, and it ran okay. But this car is going to be going up for sale because I don't need it, I don't drive it. It literally just sets forever. So this car is going up for sale. And being who I am, I don't want to sell this car if it's messed up or something's janky on it. So I got another exhaust, a full exhaust from the manifold right here all the way to the tailpipe out of a 90, I'll say it was a 94 Civic, and put that on. The only issue that I had whenever I put it on was that the cat was no longer up here in the front, it was now underneath the car. So that, and it only had one O2 sensor. So I had to weld another O2 sensor bung behind the cat, and I have it like that now, and it runs, and it reads them perfect. It's got no problems. The only other thing that I had go on with this is that I kept having problems with the sensors for my intake. All of my intake sensors were going bad one by one. And rather than placing one by one, my buddy pulled his Honda engine, which is the Y8, out of his Civic because he plans on doing a K-swap. And he just gave me the entire intake. I obviously cleaned it up quite a bit and put some new injectors in it. But he pulled it out, gave it to me, and I put it on my car. And it runs fantastic. So the car now runs great. It doesn't smoke at all, doesn't go through any oil. It doesn't have a whole lot of power. Car never did, isn't going to unless I do something major with it, like turbo it or something. Even then, turboing this engine's not really worth it, but it's just a stock engine. So the engine now runs good. I've got my paint, got the wheels, got my sunroof, all the doors open and closed correctly. They didn't used to whenever I got the car. Other than that, that's kind of the gist of it. I did replace the steering rack and pinion under it because it randomly one day decided to blow a line, and rather than just replacing a line that was a high pressure line, kind of a pain in the butt, I got an entire rack and pinion out of the junkyard. Again, a junkyard part. It's because this car is cheap and I didn't want to put a whole lot of expensive parts into it. But rack and pinion now work perfect. The interior is the exact same as it was the day that I got it, except for a couple of minor things. It now has a center console. I didn't have a center console originally, so I got that out of the junkyard again. So center console in the car. Still has a big huge rip in the seat, but doesn't really affect anything. The instrument cluster, I got a brand new one just because mine back in the day, the original one that came with the car, didn't have a tach, and this is a 5-speed car, so I wanted the tach, not a necessity, but a comfort. I wanted the tach. So I bought the entire cluster minus the silver bezel because I painted that silver. Bought the entire cluster online for I want to say $110 or something like that. And it was brand new, so the odometer says 2,800 miles. That's not correct, obviously, but it is a new cluster. Everything else inside the car is the exact same as it was. Nothing has changed, except for the fact that I now have a sunroof, which I do enjoy. So, that's pretty much the overview of this car. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know, I'm sorry, it's been about a year since I've made a video, but I just didn't make videos, and I enjoyed making videos, so I'm going to get back to making videos. Hopefully I get some subscribers, and hopefully people see this, but as always, guys, hopefully you had a great day. Hopefully you have a great day tomorrow. Catch you guys in the next video.